What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Zach Guiser, and this is another entry into the Athlete Development Journal, where we talk about developing speed, strength, power, health, and character so athletes get the most out of their athletic career. This episode's all about in-season training. If you think you're too busy for it, you might be, but at least give this episode a listen first. Before we get into the specifics of in-season training, I first want to talk about the busy problem in general. So I think busyness is inappropriately demonized by many people today. Now, before we go too crazy, yes, I think excessive busyness can be pathological. And no, I don't think being busy for the sake of being busy is a worthy use of anyone's time. But if you are busy because you're filling your days with productive, meaningful work, then you're building a valuable skill set, your work capacity. So let's imagine you're a waitress in a small town restaurant. Day in and day out, you have your regular customer flow. Sometimes you're handling one or two tables, and sometimes you're handling 5 or 6 of them. Then, one day, your coworker calls off during the Saturday evening dinner rush. All of a sudden, you're handling 12 tables at once. You're panicked. Your mind is moving a million miles an hour. You're confusing drink orders. You're late getting to check to everyone. This is just way more than you can handle. But now let's run that back. But this time, let's imagine you're a waitress in a busy New York City restaurant. Day in and day out, you have your regular customer flow. Sometimes you're handling 7 or 8 tables, and sometimes you're handling 13 or 14 of them. Now, a day when you have 12 tables at once doesn't feel so bad. You're used to this. You know how to organize your time to make sure everyone gets what they need when they need it. You have an organization structure that keeps orders right all the time. You've built up the capacity to handle that work. I see the same thing happen with kids when they go off to college. The high school overachievers who stretch themselves thin with 2 or 3 varsity sports, 3 clubs, student council, all AP classes, plus year-round GT training, typically go off to college and thrive. They tell me that they're shocked by how much free time they have and how much easier school is than they thought it would be. The high school kids who go ghost at GT during the season, who can't fathom coming to a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. session and take all blow-off classes their senior year, well, they struggle freshman year of college. See, all adaptation requires a stressor that pushes your boundary. If you want to get stronger, you have to lift more weight for more reps. If you want better conditioning, you have to run faster and further. Your work capacity is no different. Your season of busyness isn't a problem that needs to be fixed. It's training grounds for your future. Now let's talk about in-season training and how I think you might be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So season after season, year after year, I see the same trend. Those who train during the season have progress that compounds exponentially compared to those who don't. The athletes who train through the season, they stay healthier, perform better during the important times of the year, and they see better long-term progress. So let's dive a little further into each of those. Number 1, they stay healthier. So training is the best anti-injury medicine that we've got at our disposal. It's not 100% perfect. You can still get hurt even if you have perfect training, whatever that would be. I don't know what perfect is, but it's by far the best tool that we have available. Continuing to train during the season allows you to continue to carry your shield and fortify yourself to the best of your ability. Additionally, appropriately dosed training gives a big recovery boost and allows you to feel much better. We all know if you feel good, you play good. Deion Sanders. Number 2, they perform better during the important times of the season. You didn't train all offseason just so you can show off during the first 2 weeks of preseason before games even start. You want to win, and you want to win a lot. This means the most important time of the season comes at the very end, the playoffs. If you stop training once the season starts, most of the speed, strength, agility, and power gains that you made will have significantly diminished by the time you need them the most. And if you don't believe me, take the word of some guys who know a thing or two about winning. This is a quote from Matthew Slater, who was a Patriots wide receiver in 2017 whenever they were always in the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl. Quote, "We paid a serious price to get to this point. We put in a lot of work. We're practicing in pads on Super Bowl week. We're squatting 80% of our maxes on Super Bowl week. I mean, we worked for this. Our bodies were ready. Our minds were ready." Number 3, they see better long-term progress. Too often, we lose sight of the forest for the trees. We focus on what's happening right now and can't see the long-term plan. Another big reason to keep training through the season is to make sure you're maximizing your potential next season. Stopping training once the season starts is like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Continuing to train during the season is like taking 3 steps forward. And you can see with this little graph here, progress is not a straight line. Over time, you're going to get more athletic, but you're going to have peaks, valleys, you're going to plateau, you're going to go up and down. But that overall trajectory of that green line is consistently going upwards. And that's what consistent year-round training gets you. You're going to have times where you're less athletic. You're going to have times where you stall out. But overall, that trend line is going to go upwards versus that red line where you stop training during the season. If you have only off-season training, you do 12 weeks in the off-season, you take off full season, whatever it is, you're going to get more athletic, and then you're going to drop back down. And you're going to get more athletic whenever you start training again, and then you're going to drop back down. You see way worse long-term progress if you don't train during the season. So all of a sudden, if you've taken 3 steps forward and everybody else is taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you're 2 steps ahead of where you would have been otherwise and ahead of your competition in general. Repeating this process season after season, year after year, will allow you to learn the value of compound interest. Now, I feel so strongly about this concept that I've built my entire business model to make in-season training as accessible and easy as possible. I really mean I'm committed to this stuff. It's less profitable than what would happen otherwise. We have a wait list. It would make more financial sense for me to clear up space on our client roster and bring new athletes on than just continue to train in season with the same roster. But that's not what I'm interested in. I want to make our tight community of athletes have the highest possible chance of success. That means it's my job to make in-season training as efficient and effective as possible. And here are some ways we do that. Our individualized training model allows for each athlete to be doing a program built specifically for their circumstances, which means we can push hard when it makes sense and pull back when it makes sense. I talk to our athletes about what's going on, so we make modifications all the time. We just want to make sure we're hitting the qualities, the physical qualities that they need at that point in time. Sometimes that's purely regen and recovery, making sure that they're feeling good. Sometimes we're hitting it hard and we're making sure we're developing more athleticism and getting stronger during this. Additionally, I've developed tiered packaging that allows our athletes to continue training 1 or 2 days per week through the season, depending on when it's appropriate for them. Our online scheduling system allows for our athletes to shift their training sessions around their busy schedule. I always make sure to offer sessions early in the morning, afternoon, and at night throughout the week so their athletes can schedule around their games and practices. And I stay in communication with our athletes about what practice has been like, as well as their soreness, sleep, energy, etc., through our daily readiness assessments, so I can add or subtract things to their program as appropriate. I think in-season training is astronomically important, and so I've built our business around it. Year-round training compounds significantly, and it's always cool to watch our super committed athletes continue to find ways to get work done in season. Now, if you're struggling with this, if you're trying to fit an infinite amount of work or events or schedules into a finite amount of time, let me offer you this quote from economist Thomas Sowell. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. This aphorism bounces around in my head on repeat. It's short, it's sweet, and it's kind of obvious, but it's incredibly powerful if you can internalize it. There are going to be pros and cons about every decision that you make. You're not going to find that perfect solution that allows you to chase excellence at its highest level while simultaneously always feeling rested and relaxed. You do some soul searching and figure out what trade-offs you can live with and what trade-offs you can't. And then you make that decision. When I was in high school and college, I was driven by the thought of avoiding the what ifs in the future. I was extraordinarily annoyed by all of the old heads I would meet, and they would tell me, I would have gone D1, but it wasn't for my knee injury, or my high school coach never sent that tape, whatever it was. I was so repulsed at the idea of becoming one of them that anytime I thought of skipping a training session or not giving everything I had on a rep, I thought of myself becoming a woulda, coulda, shoulda guy, and I flipped the switch to put the work in. I was willing to take the trade-offs of being absolutely exhausted to avoid the pain of looking back and saying, what if in the future? Now, though, I'm at a season in my life where I'm willing to leave work on the table. I have 2 young girls, and the trade-off of being exhausted and not spending enough time with them is not something I'm willing to risk. Yes, I expose myself to the possibility of wearing what-if glasses in the future when thinking about how much more successful our business could have been. That's the whole point, though. There isn't a perfect solution. Each choice has trade-offs. Only you can decide what the trade-offs you're willing to make are. All right, let's wrap it up with a couple important things. First, this newsletter and podcast is completely free. I spend many hours each week researching, writing, illustrating, recording, editing, and uploading. The best way you can support it and allow it to continue is to share it with people you know. You can just send them to gtperformance.co/newsletter, and they can subscribe there. Number 2, everything in these newsletters, podcasts, social media, and on our website is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice for you or your athlete. Please consult directly with a healthcare professional. Thank you so much for your help in spreading the word about athlete development. And until next time, go be great out there.
Yeah, straight A student, but I'm friends with the cool kids. Following the rules and the rubric. Freestyle on the bus and it's too